Hey, and welcome back into WKYT Facebook Live. Dave Baker along with Brian Milam, our sports director, and Gary Ball, the host of the Scholastic Ball Report. We just finished up on the CW Lexington with the draw for the girls and the Whitaker Bank Boys Sweet 16 tournament. And what we're going to do now here on Facebook Live is we're going to break it down for you here on the big board with the big guys who know what's going on in this
It's
thing.
our version of the Mel Kiper big board.
Oh, how about that? How about that? I don't know that we could do the touchscreen, but here we go. So first of all, we're taking a look at the upper bracket and breaking it down some more for the girls' Sweet 16, which will take place March 13th through 17th. Remember, it's at Rupp Arena this year.
That's right.
All right, gentlemen, take it away.
Well, I think let's just start with the first game.
Yep.
Region 14 and 11. You've got Eastern Kentucky, Southeastern Kentucky coming out of Region 14. You've got a lot of parity this year. In years past, you've had a dominating team. Perry Central for years, or it was Whitesburg back in the day.
Right.
Now, recently, you've had a little bit more parity. Breathitt County had a run a few years ago, but now it's kind of wide open, I think.
Yeah, Hazard could come out of there. You never know. The 14th, as you said. And 11th region, you've got Scott County. Everybody talking about the Lady Cards over there at Scott County. They're number one in the state right now. They could come out of the 11th region, or perhaps maybe Franklin County. They could come out of there again. They've got a good ball club.
I think it's going to take a big effort to beat Scott County.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott County has had one loss this year. That was to Lincoln County by 10. And I've watched Scott County the last couple of years. They have a lot of people back from a year ago when they went for the first time since 2010. And Scott County is a load. There's no doubt about it. And two other teams in the 14th quickly. Well, actually three. Not Central has had a run over the last decade or so where they've made a couple of trips. But Powell County, Kenny Jones has been there a long time, waving the red towel. Is this the year that Stanton makes a trip on the girls' side? Then they get to drive about 35 miles or so to Lexington. Wolfe County is having their best year in forever. So the 14th is wide open, and I think, like I mentioned, it's going to take a big effort to beat Scott the 11th.
I want to slide down to that Region 9, Region 1 matchup.
I bet you do.
Because there's some good teams. Ryle is a really good team in that region. I mean,
Most people don't realize, isn't Ryle like the biggest school in the state? Biggest high school in the state? One of the biggest high schools in the state?
That's your territory.
Yes, sir.
Ryle's a big school, and Cooper's up there, and Boone County's up there, and Connor's up there. So you're talking, as you said, and they're talking about building another high school up in that area. So that'll just completely take the talent away from my alma mater, Boone County.
That's amazing.
And that's one thing to point out, though, as you point out that 11th region with Scott County for the boys and the girls. This is the last year of one high school in Scott County.
That's a great point. And Great Crossing's going to announce their their coaches next Monday. I believe the 4th it is, February 4th. So we'll find out who's the coaches over there at that high school in Scott County.
You also mentioned Region 1. I think you have to talk about Murray. I mean, this is a ball club that has won 3 in a row, 3 region championships in a row.
Isn't there another Turley on the Murray team? A younger Turley?
There are Turley. Now, there have been Turleys everywhere.
Right.
I mean,
and not Curtis the
no,
coach.
I go back to Curtis.
Curtis was the Larry Brown of Kentucky high school basketball coaches. There's no question. He went from C to signing C. But let's talk about a couple of other teams. You said the no-love team in the first region was Carlisle County. I don't believe, don't hold me to this, I don't think they've made it to the Sweet 16. And if they have, it was maybe sandwiched in there after Marshall County went off for years.
Yeah, I don't believe they've been there either. So that's a team that we hope could get some love.
I think of Carlisle County, 1983. Craner Sloan and the boys taking on Henry Clay and Steve Miller. And I thought about it just the other day when I saw Steve Miller, who's the JV coach at Henry Clay now. And he was the guy that hit that baseline jumper in that low-scoring affair.
Could play a little baseball, too.
Yeah, not too bad. Another team in Region 1 to look at, Graves County. They've won 11 out of 12. The loss in that span was to Marshall County. And as we mentioned on the broadcast, Dan Lange. The former Vanderbilt Commodore,
6'9", Mr. Lange.
Co-SEC Player of the Year back in the day, who played for the Marshalls. He is the girls' coach, has been for a couple of years.
Crazy.
Aaron Beth over at Graves County.
Isn't that amazing? And we were talking about Shelby Valley. Why Elijah Justice?
That's right.
He's coaching, but he's not coaching at Shelby Valley. But I think eventually he'll
I hear what you're
come
saying.
around to that.
Okay, you want to go to the bottom half of the bracket?
Well, one other thing, real quick.
Yes,
on
whatever you'd like.
Region 10 and Region 6, this is a tough matchup. Obviously, it depends on who comes out. In Region 6, over the last several years, it's been Butler, Mercy, Butler, Mercy, Butler, Butler, Mercy. Now Butler is one of the favorites in there, obviously, but they're not alone.
And they're going to have a tough matchup because that 10th region's really good.
Heck yeah.
I mean, Scott High School can play some basketball, and you've also got in there, you got, on the girls' side, you've got Campbell County, teams like that don't get any love.
And Mercy was the runner-up last year in Mercer County,
that's right? Clark County at 13-8. They've had a substandard season by record, but you can kind of, from this point on, this is when it counts. How much heat you pick up, how much momentum as you get to the postseason.
We talked a lot about Robbie Graham's basketball team on the other show, but they get injuries and suspensions, you said, Brian.
Right.
And when they get Igo back, they're going to have a full – I think she's back now. So
she's a heck of a player.
She's a heck of a player.
Okay, so let's go ahead and check out now the bottom half of the bracket. This is, and again, for those of you who aren't familiar, they made a change a couple years ago. So the commissioner will assign basically the first round times for travel and other factors. So that's why there are no times here. But this is the bottom half of the bracket now that'll take place. Those games on Thursday.
That 4th region, you've got Barron County. They're 19-3. And you've got also Bowling Green 17-4, Glasgow, Southmore, all those teams. So that's a good matchup there for the 4th and 15th region. I think that's an intriguing matchup.
Yeah, you've also in the 4th, you've got Allen County, Scottsville. Yep. 2 of their losses have been to Bowling Green. And how often have we seen in postseason play, you lose in the regular season, maybe twice. Yeah. You might lose in the district championship or somewhere, and then you meet up again for a 3rd or a 4th, sometimes even a 5th time, as it happened back in '98 when Perry and Hazard played on the boys' side.
And Brian, look at that 7 and 16 matchup. Seven, of course, Sacred Heart, Eastern teams like that. They're more grinded out basketball teams. 16th region, they want to score 90 or 100 points in the first half. So that's going to be a really run and gun style against that 7th region. Likes to grind it out and make you play good defense.
And Donna Moyer, who knows? She may make another trip to the Sweet 16. She's had a heck of a career. Yeah. But when you mentioned that's a great style, contrast of style. And I think you have to bring into the consideration, how's the game going to be called, officiating-wise? Yeah, exactly. Are they going to call it close the way they normally do in some rural areas? Let's just be honest. It's a lot closer of a call in, let's say, 12th through the 16th and 1 through 3 regions sometimes than it is in the 6th, 7th, 11th, and in the 9th regions.
And Carl Winderoth, and Dave Baker knows Carl, old Grant County coach, and coached at Scott High School. He told me it takes 3 things to win the Sweet 16.
Number 1.
The right call.
Number 2.
The right draw.
Number 3.
The right bounce. and he's so correct in everything he said there. So
you're absolutely right. Anything else that stand out to you boys here in the bottom half of the girls bracket?
Looking at Region 8.
Yes.
Now, a lot of these regions are balanced. You're not going to have too many regions where it's just a juggernaut and then a lot of other people hoping they draw away from that regional heavyweight. In the 8th region, you've got a lot of parity. You've got Walton, Verona, and Anderson County, and the Oldhams are always going to be in there. Sure. And then with the 12th, Lincoln County. Let's talk about Emma King for a minute because she's coming to the Cats, and that young lady can fill it up. And when she's not filling it up, she is a very good distributor of the basketball.
She really is. She's a very good passer. That's a good point. That's something she doesn't give a lot of credit for because the girl's an outstanding passer. So, and that's something to be said coming to Kentucky, wearing Kentucky across the chest if you're a Kentucky girl. I think Macy Morris said that. She said it means more to me. The little Bell girl means more to her. And now you've got Emma King coming to Kentucky. It's going to mean a lot more to her.
She's just a great kid, too.
Yes.
I got to meet her a few weeks ago, right here. Yeah. Her class was here for a tour, and it was the first time I'd had a chance to talk to her. She's just an outstanding young lady. All right, so this will be the 58th Girls Sweet 16, again at Rupp Arena. Tickets at KHSAA.org, March 13th through the 17th. So now, let's take a look at the boys bracket. It'll be the 102nd Whitaker Bank Boys Sweet 16.
Come over here and get my boys' notes.
No, you're fine. That's not a faux pas.
Gary's got them all in one sheet.
We're on Facebook Live, dude. We're Facebooking.
We are live.
Okay, you're looking live at the Wednesday pairings, and 13 and 8 started out.
13 and 8. I think the first thing when you look at Region 13, I think of South Laurel this year. Jeff Davis is doing a heck of a job at South Laurel. They lost the first game of the year to Scott County in Georgetown. I don't know who scheduled that game, Jeff.
Right, right.
And then,
or who agreed to it.
And then they lost to Frankfurt just about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And this is a ball club, I think, like 21-2, something like that. And Cromer and Ramey, JJ, if he gets on, that's a tough team to beat, man.
Knox Central, though.
That is true.
They're sitting there 18-4 out of that region. So you're right. South Laurel, probably the favorite. I don't know about prohibitive favorite, but they're favorite.
I agree with that.
And they got a good coach. We know that. But I think Knox Central could surprise some people in that region.
It's funny, we talk about, and we mentioned it during the broadcast, and we'll get to one of the other teams in a minute that's undefeated. It's been 30 years, pretty sure it's been 30 years since the last undefeated team went to the Sweet 16. And you mentioned Knox Central, and Tony Patterson is down there. He was one of the guys looking to beat Clay County back in the late 80s.
Right.
No one was able to do it when the chips were down from 84 to 91 in the 13th region. Now the region, I think a lot of people, Tony Patterson said when they won the Mountain Classic, that was one of the things on his bucket list. That was 2 years ago, I believe, to get Knox Central to the Sweet 16.
Well,
it has been a long time.
And we haven't even talked about Clay County.
No, not yet. We haven't.
I mean, that's a team. Everybody, when you think of the state tournament, they think of Richie Farmer and Alan Feldhouse. I mean, Richie Farmer and Houston. The kid from Ballard going at it, going at it one-on-one.
That wasn't a bad matchup.
50 points and 40 points each.
All right, Region 5, Region 10.
That's where Brian was just talking about. John Harden, undefeated season. Everybody's saying, will they stay undefeated going into the Sweet 16? We'll find out. I do think they have a little question with maybe their schedule. I'm not questioning your schedule, Coach, but I think maybe the strength of schedule.
Well, here's something. To be 23-0 at this point is awesome. Allen County, Scottsville in 96. They, with J.D. Strange was their coach at Allen County, Scottsville. They, I believe, went through the first 2/3 of the season undefeated. They got to the state tournament, lost to Paintsville on that wild play where Todd Tackett released early and J.R. Van Hoos hit him on the bomb. But looking at John Harden, they have defeated Bowling Green. They have beaten Taylor County, who's 16-4. Only region loss for Taylor County is to John Harden by 4. Beat Central Harden by 1. LaRue County by 1. Hoptown by 1. And you talked about the 3 steps to winning. You better have luck in there somewhere along the way.
All that being said, Brian, Region 10, Campbell County, all I've been hearing out of the region, I played in the 9th region. They were in the 9th region when I played.
Right.
All I've been hearing out of the 10th region, Campbell County, and how good they are. I know they have the Wilson kid, who's a really good player, so that'll be a really interesting test if John Harden gets there.
That's true. If. And Region 10, you got to put Clark County in there. I asked Josh Cook 2 months ago. I saw him at a ball game, just put my arm around him, and I said, hey, is this the year the Cardinals get back to the Sweet 16? And he was like, whoa, I'm not going to touch that. But that is a tough region in the past. And, Bourbon County has had a decent season. I don't know if they've got the horses down the stretch. I'm not sure just yet. But you mentioned Campbell County, that they lost to Beechwood. They have defeated Clark County this year. They've been on a roll the last several years.
Beechwood that's an interesting team. Beechwood, they're out of the 9th region. That's an interesting team. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But Scotty Drough's son plays for them. And Scotty has been texting me on a daily basis trying to get them some exposure in the state, King of the Bluegrass Traditional Bank tournament, because I tell you what, he thinks his son's a big-time Division I player.
Region 16, they are close, near and dear to our heart here at WKYT. We've had a great relationship over the decades with them. That one is wide open. For years, a lot of people focused on Ashland Boyd, who's going to be somebody, one of those two is going to
back to Larry Conley.
1961, a lot of people still say that's one of the best teams, if not the best of all time. But Ashland and Boyd, you don't see them on the notes as much.
Right.
This year, it's taken over by Rowan County and Elliott County and Morgan County, who has defeated Rowan County. But Sean Thacker's at 19-2, and he went to the state finals just a few years ago, lost in overtime to Christian County. Darrell Cross Jr. hit that big shot to send it to overtime. That is a ball club in Rowan County that loves.
Who can forget Adam Wing, the shooter from made like 6 straight. It was like going off there at Rupp Arena. He couldn't miss. Is this guy ever going to miss? Yeah, that's a good one. But let's go to that 7-15 matchup, and I'll tell you what I know about Shelby Valley.
What do you know?
There's a kid named Potter on that team that can fly. He had 9 threes in the All-A Classic semifinal game. He came back against University Heights. He had 22 points. He had 6 threes in the first half. He's about ready to break a record. And then University Heights said, okay, we see what this kid's doing. So they put this kid named Hollowell on him. And he completely,
who's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He shut him down, held him to 3 free throws in the second half.
The 15th region over the last decade or so, you have seen Johnson Central time and time again. Pikeville has certainly, with Elijah Justice as their head coach.
yeah.
And 10 years ago, they won the All-A, and then in 2010, they won the All-A and the Sweet 16. I don't know. And Shelby Valley beating Pikeville at the buzzer the other day.
Yep.
And let's be remiss here. Jim Bob Hicks is the coach at Shelby Valley, whose uncle just so happens to have won 1,001 games or so.
Wow.
Billy.
You know,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
and they play the same kind of controlled, chaotic style. Jim has been, you know, he did it at Owsley County for a year. It was at Greenup County, I believe at Bath County, and he may have found his niche with Shelby Valley.
Who are those two, the Warwicks twins? The Warwicks. One of them's about 5'5", Brian. I'm not kidding you, Buzz. He's 5'5", if he's 5 foot at all. The other one's about 5'9". But those are like Energizer Bunny. If you put knee pads on those two Warwicks twins there at Shelby Valley, they would clean the floor for you out there. I'm telling you, they're unbelievable.
Now you look at Region 7. Let's talk about this because this is the eastern side of Louisville, and Trinity is going to be the first team that everybody talks about.
Right.
David Johnson, the U of L signee, is going to go there. He was hurt for a couple of weeks. He's back. I saw him take a one-handed lob at Henry Clay, throw it down.
Yeah.
He was back. I think he's okay.
Back. Yeah, that kid is talented. Trinity's talented. They got some other kids around him, but Johnson is a really good player. He played a good game. He came back against Henry Clay, as you said. Henry Clay actually beat him by 2.
Wagner, another team, the Wagner Wildcats have not had, in 08 they had a pretty darn good season. Then you have to go back to the late 80s when a guy named Scott Crabtree was patrolling the guard spot over there in that area. But Wagner's got 3 losses, 2 to Trinity, 1 to St. X. They've defeated everybody else. Seneca losing to Trinity in the LIT
Throwback
finals.
team. Seneca, throwback.
Come on.
I mean, if we can break out,
Wes Unseld.
if we could break out Wes Unseld, Mike Redd, Tony Kimbrough, and Keith Williams, if we could put that foursome together,
goodness.
Pretty good.
State title is in the bag, ladies and gentlemen.
What a team.
All right, let's go to the bottom half of the bracket. And right at the top it is.
Yeah. Well, I got to give some love to my region, of course, a 9th. I mean, even though Boone County is not in that equation, they're in a rebuilding year, so to speak, at Boone County.
Covcath, the defending champ.
Covcath, there's not only Covcath, you got Cooper, you got Beechwood, you got Newport. Newport's in a team that I think, with all their talent, they've got some really good players. They run the floor as well as anybody. You saw them in the
One time.
They played in the Traditional Bank Classic, and they played University Heights in the finals of that tournament. They're a team that. I tell you, they got some athletes, and they really pass the ball well. So I think Newport might be my sleeper there.
I think a lot of people, when the bracket was being announced on WKYT and on the KHSAA.org website, Region 9 pops up, and you look at the region. This is the bracket. This is the lower half, and there's 7 other teams going. Oh my gosh, is it going to be us? And then here comes Region 11. And Scott County has been the heavyweight favorite. But then Michael Marino goes down. And this thing is a lot, depending on his health. I think his health depends on what kind of a regional tournament we have here.
And, or does it? I mean, guys like Covington have stepped up for Scott County since he's been out. Other guys have gotten more scoring because they know Michael's a good a double-double guy. But, and I tell you, I think Scott County feels in a lot of ways that they need Marino back for rebounding.
Sure.
They know that. But I think a lot of people feel that they're an all-around better team maybe right now.
Let me say one thing, though. And I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know the mindset or anything. But, I mean, regular season the last several years, this group has been out of sight. I mean, even since they played together. But, they probably feel like they have got some unfinished business. And if they go about it that way, or if they get into a tournament and say, oh gosh, is this happening again? I think it's going to be interesting to see.
That's true, but the 11th region, you've got some teams that have emerged. The biggest move this week in the polls was Henry Clay. They went from nowhere to number 4 or 5 in the state.
And Brown done a nice job of that team?
Yes, he's done a great job. And his son Keyston can shoot the basketball too. And the Warwick,
that helps.
The Warwick kid,
he's awesome.
He's an all-star.
smooth. And Henry Clay, I think there are 3 teams that you definitely have to look at. Maybe 4. Let's put 4 in there because you never know the style of play. What will a coach come out with? I think Madison Central. First off, let's talk about them because Scott County went to Richmond, had to rally from a double-digit deficit, beat the Indians by 2.
Central had them down by double digits
in the second half. And Isaiah Cozart, Mr. Basketball contender, that young man can flat play. And it is so difficult. I don't care the team. I don't care if they're 1-27 going into the postseason. Alan Feldhouse turns it on in the postseason. And I really think a lot of teams will say, let's stay away by the draw. Hopefully you stay away from them. I think another team that's coming on, and they're fun to watch because they're a throwback, man, is Woodford County.
Well, yeah, they are a throwback
They are a throwback team. They don't have a guy bigger than here, and they all can shoot well. They rebound well. They block out. They are like a 95 Breckenridge County team that won the state. Not saying Woodford County is a state championship caliber team, but they play like that. Backstream.
Sure.
Oh, they're so smooth, and they've come on lately.
And, Brian, you're right. One thing we haven't really talked about is the Mr. Basketball candidates this year. Dante Allen out of the 10th region at Pendleton County was leading the nation in scoring when he went down with that ACL. His rehab's going well, I understand. And then you look at LCA, who's in the 11th region. Kyle Rode, a legitimate Mr. Basketball contender now. He's done everything his team has asked of him. So I think that's a team right there, LCA, that could make some noise.
I think LCA is another dark horse, especially if Rode is hitting. Will Hacker's a great compliment on the three-point line. And Baylor Brown, great name by the way.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, he's not asked to do a lot, but if he's left open, he has shown recently that he can hit a three-pointer. Those are some of the teams. And
Pierce Dalton.
Very much so. Franklin, I think Frankfurt is another team that's blessed with great athleticism.
And you put a good coach with that. You got O'Brien there.
That's
now.
right.
A good coach with athletes and talent. I think the Tillman Good's a double machine waiting to happen.
Awesome.
Johnny Tillman there at Frankfurt.
I mean, he's got the body. He was a poor man's Charles Hurt, maybe. I don't know. He is a strong cat. But those are some of the teams in the 11th. As for the 6th, the 6th and the 14th, the 6th is wide open again. You mentioned Butler. That's my alma mater. Love to see Butler go back. They have been snake bit, though. Bullitt East, first round of the LIT. Butler's the number 1 seed. Bullitt East is the 16 seed. Who says a 16 can't beat a 1?
All right.
Bullitt East beats Butler by 1. And that whole region is kind of in flux right now.
Never count out Dale Mabry at PRP. The guy's, he's a legend. I mean, Billy Hicks has 1,000 wins.
He's second place.
But Mabry's right up there, man, and he's got some state championships as well.
Think about this for the 6th region champion. Butler, since this turn of the calendar year, Butler is 4-4. Bullitt Central 4-5, J-Town 3-4, PRP 4-3. Everybody is playing a tough schedule, but no one has been able to grab any momentum.
Everybody beating up on each other.
And now is the time, the final 2 weeks of the regular season or whatever it may be, now's the time to get hot. Because everything starts a little earlier this year.
You're right. The February 18th is the first day of the district tournaments. That's just
crazy.
Coming up in 2 or 3 weeks, and then the regionals the next week. The thing about the 11th region this year is the district winners are going to host that first round because Eastern's not available because of some scheduling conflicts. So they're going to host the first round. So that'll be interesting to see. And another team that I got to throw in there in the 11th region, Lexington Catholic.
Oh, certainly.
Okay. They're coming
My apologies,
out of nowhere.
Brandon. I apologize.
They're coming out of nowhere. Right now they're ranked. They're ranked in the top 25. They barely have a 500 record. But you know what? That's a team, if they get hot, with Bryce Scott and also
very underrated player.
Yeah, the Johnson kid.
Ben Johnson.
He can score 30 on any given night. If they get hot, look out.
Yeah, that 43rd, why do we even leave out anybody out of the district?
Exactly.
We can't leave anybody out because it's the toughest district. As for Region 14, no clear-cut favorite, I don't think. Not Central went to the All-A state tournament. You've got Hazard in there. Perry Central possibly could get hot. But right now, from everybody that I've spoken to, they believe it's Hazard and not Central
I think
coming out of the 14th
two-man
region.
race.
Region 12 and Region 2. Region 12, Danville took it on the chin big time in the All-A.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just an off day or they just didn't adapt well to Shelby Valley's speed, or
I think
or
they
what?
needed to put the premium 93 in their gas tank, and they got the what is it, the 90, the low octane, and they just didn't have anything in the tank there. I was there at that game, and they just didn't have anything in the tank.
Wayne County is also a ball club, and it's been, we're going to go back in time again. 30 years. It was 30 years ago this March when Wayne County went to the state finals, lost to PRP by 2, and
Rodney
the
Woods.
entire city of Louisville, minus one little swath between Dixie Highway and Greenwood Road, was pulling for Wayne County. Julius Green hit the off-balance 3, that lefty shot at the end of the third, and everybody was hoping and praying that Wayne County, you had a red and black team in PRP, red and black team in Wayne County, the Cardinals, and everybody was cheering for the Cardinals in Rupp Arena. It's been 30 years since that happened. Another team, Pulaski County, Lincoln County, Pulaski County, they could find their way in if someone's not careful. As for Region 2, everybody's going to look at University Heights as the first team.
Kiki Tandy is a special talent.
Yeah.
I mean, when you saw him over in the All-A, he was the MVP of the All-A Classic, and whenever they needed a basket or a shot or something, he came down and just rose up and made it look easy,
Mm-hmm.
But and they've got a defensive stopper, as I said, in the Hollowell kid. The way he shut down the Potter kid from Shelby Valley was just nothing short of really remarkable.
Yeah, Madisonville North Hopkins is another team in there, Caldwell County. Madisonville North Hopkins lost to University Heights by 1. They have won 8 in a row, so we'll see what happens there. Region 4, Region 1, a lot of people are going to look at Bowling Green, certainly just because, but you mentioned Todd Messer, if he could find a way to slow down the Purples.
Yeah.
And Todd Messer has got Jackson Harlan, who's signed with Western Kentucky. That young man can fill it up. Maybe one of the best talents in the state people are not really focusing on because Clinton County has to slug it out with the likes of Bowling Green and in the past the Warren County schools.
Yeah, Clinton County's 16-6, so they got a solid record against a good schedule there.
And then Mayfield, Graves, and McCracken in Region 1, those three. McCracken lost to Graves by 11 at home, then goes to Graves County and wins by 4. Graves County loses to Mayfield. Mayfield has defeated University Heights out of region. So those 3 teams, and Mayfield went to the All-A again.
McCracken in the first region there, they're hoping they get out of that, get the state tournament because they want to put this Seville's kid on a big stage.
Yeah,
on a big stage. You put him on a big stage, he's averaging 22, 23 points right now.
This is the quietest you've been in.
How about that? No, that's why we got you dudes here, to break this stuff down, and this is great, and we hope that you have enjoyed it. You'll get more of that, not only tonight on WKYT, but G-Ball will have much more coming up on the Scholastic Ball Report. And again...
can I give a shameless plug, Buzz?
Please, shamelessly.
This week, we're going to tape the show Thursday night because Wednesday night we got the Bluegrass Sports Banquet, Bluegrass Sports Commission. This will be our 500th episode of the Scholastic Ball. I mean, that's a lot of shows.
And they said it would never last, right?
Exactly. Well,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
March 6th through 10th, Rupp Arena, the Whitaker Bank Boys Sweet 16. Tickets for both of these tournaments at KHSAA.org. So thank you all for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you at the tournament.